Welcome to the Nonsense Chronicles. This is Doug Sashery, and as always, I'm joined right here by
Rob Mediola.
Hey, Rob, how you doing today, buddy?
Very good, man. I'm a little worn out. I'll have to just go ahead and be honest. Be a little honest about that. We've had quite a few days that's been busy.
Yeah, I was surprised to see you push it last night and go.
Yeah, I did. I went into the smoke.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, and not a good thing for me, but I wanted to be there.
Yeah, my wife, our local venue Acadia closed this week, and my wife told me people going up to Rob and saying hi and like almost basically blowing smoke in his face. He's having to push his air hose into his nose. Yeah. I'm like, oh my God. Yeah,
no, it was good, man. People were good.
It was good. It was good. It was good to see everybody, and we've had hosted two bands since Thursday, and then we had that crawfish boil
Saturday.
Yeah, Saturday with live music out there all day Saturday. Mm-hmm. And Sunday I pretty much was a zombie.
But we're here to podcast today.
Today we are here.
Yeah,
who knows?
And we have someone on the line with us.
We do. Chase Lacombe from Kerosene Shores. Chase, how you doing today, buddy?
What's going on, brother?
Oh, just another day in paradise,
yeah.
man.
Life's
Absolutely.
Good, man.
Thanks for having me on here, man.
We're glad to have you on. Yeah. We want you to talk about your band, Kerosene Shores, and also talk about how you're handling Nashville living and then commuting back to do shows here and there.
I thought we would just talk about my my new summer body for an hour.
There you go.
I thought that's what we were here to talk.
You're ready to go, huh?
But I guess we can talk a little music too.
Excelente, man. First off, I got to ask you this. So what part of Nashville are you living in?
Kind of southwest Nashville. It's about maybe 20 minutes outside of downtown.
Mm-hmm.
Is that where I'm trying to think of the little town?
A little town called Kingston Springs. It's just kind of outside there, but it's still a Nashville address.
Okay. Yeah, there's a little town I usually stay in not too far from there. It's off 40, but I can't remember the name of the town right before you get there. Yeah.
Franklin?
I know where Franklin is. I bought a Franklin strap.
Let's see. There you go.
Yeah, they make
Franklin's a good little city to stay in whenever you're coming into Nashville. It's really not that far out, of a drive to get to downtown, but you're definitely away from the city, so to speak. But it's its own little city there, like you kind of feel like you're back in they got Targets and Walmarts and grocery stores and everything. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a kind of a good jump off. Like if I'm going to leave for somewhere the next morning and I want to kind of get out of town, that's not a bad idea. Yeah.
No, it's a short drive out, man. There's good little places to go to, that aren't just, like almost like New York City, to where there's 200 people on every single side of the sidewalk, waiting to cross as soon as, the light turns green. It's crazy, some places downtown and Broadway.
Oh, yeah.
Here.
Yeah, I want to say
it's its own animal.
So how long have you been out there?
I moved here November 2nd. So
oh wow, that's my birthday.
Yeah, I think tomorrow is my 6-month anniversary here.
Very cool.
So we'll be getting our keys to our house finally here on the 15th of next month. My family is still in Houston. My wife and kids are all still there. So whenever I would fly home for a Kerosene Shore show, that would be, the time I would usually take off an extra day and get to be with them for a 3-day weekend. But there was, always still rehearsals and shows and, different things that, were other obligations away from the family. So it's going to be good. We're on the last 2 weeks or so, to finally getting everybody back together for the first time in 6 months. So it's been quite a journey up here, and it's not been easy. But it's been absolutely worth everything. It's been worth everything.
That's good. Yeah, I forgot. What are you doing there? I know what you're doing. You're building. Are you a builder?
Yeah. So I'm a superintendent with a company called Spectrum Builders here in Nashville. We do a lot of high-end work right now. I've got 6 different properties that I'm kind of juggling very quickly. This is only my third week there with them. Or I guess this is my fourth. Now we're starting on to the fourth week, but it's not where I started. I came up here and I was working for General Motors down in Spring Hill, and just maybe 45 minutes south. It's further past Franklin down that way, and man, it was the job that I got accepted to while I was still living in Houston, and I had to have some means of you know still providing and taking care of all of the bills and responsibilities, that I have whenever I come up here. So that was the first key, to kind of unlock this city for me was to get that job. And it truly, the first day I walked in that place, I couldn't wait to, for my last day to get to walk out on my last day.
God, man.
It not that it's a bad place to work. It's just that it wasn't the kind of fit for me. It was the antithesis of what I was here to do. It was a second shift job, so I was working like 2:30 p.m. to like 10:30 at night. And like you can't go play music. You can't show up to rehearsal. Like you're supposed to be on stage 2 hours ago, man. You got to be here for load in and stuff. So that job was never going to really work with music. And with just a good chance meeting a few months back, I met my friend Brian Gamboa. We'll talk a little bit more about him and Boa, here pretty soon. But but I came up here to the Music City Drum Show last July, and Ray Luzier, the drummer for Korn, who was a loose friend at the time, we had made each other's acquaintance, on one occasion before. In Houston whenever they were on tour with Evanescence, and or I guess Evanescence was on tour with them.
Right.
But a few months later, we come up here. He was headlining the clinic at the Music City Drum Show that year, and my wife is friends with his wife. My kids, or my son plays Fortnite and video games online with his sons. And so we get up there, and it was kind of one big family reunion, and he's like putting the pieces together. He's like, wait, so that's your wife. That would make that your son, and he's like, oh, okay, dude. Like, no, hold on. He's like, man, my wife's been talking about like her friend's coming up here. Like, I got to see her. He's like, go see your friend. I don't see what the big deal is, And so that led to he and I are, good friends now. Like after that show, he was like, hey man, do you like Mexican food? And I'm like, dude, I'm from Texas. Of course I like Mexican food.
Right.
He was like, let's go get a margarita and some fajitas, man, and we'll sit down and talk. And we sat for 2 hours and had dinner with all of our family there, and I was just blown away by, just how just down to earth and genuine I'm like, dude, there's no difference in him and, talking with somebody like him and any other, just what I consider just, the other guys in the club and in the local music scene. He's still that guy, and he's been extremely helpful, to help, kind of guide me a little bit in the city. Him and Rich Redmond, who's the drummer for Jason Aldean here.
Oh, wow.
He's been super cool. Met up with him for at a cigar and whiskey bar at a drummer's meetup hangout, place here. And it was almost like a little speakeasy. Like you'd never know that if you walk in that door, like this tiny little door, you'd walk right past it and never even think about it, dude. But it's a really cool place. The name of it escapes me, but they do a couple of those a year here in Nashville. And shout out to Thomas Finch from FDS Drum Services for putting those
Finch.
on.
Finch is a good guy, man.
He's about to go out on tour with Evanescence as the drum tech for Will Hunt. So
he's going to Europe, I believe. Huh?
So I got to give him a shout out for that. He connects a lot of people here in the city, and he connected me with Rich that day. Now, Rich had been cool and responded to some messages and questions that I had over the months. So we weren't perfect strangers, but he was like, "Oh, we're Facebook friends, or we're social media friends." He was like, "Cool, we get to finally meet, right?" So we went and picked out a couple of sticks in the humidor with the owner, and then we sat there and, for the next couple hours, just talked music, talked this whole move and this story and this change. And then he was doing a drum clinic in Murfreesboro, right outside of Nashville here, just a few weeks ago. And I was like, hey, Rich, I reached out to him And by this point, he had given me his phone number. He texted it, or not texted it, but he had messaged it to me one morning, like, "Hey, dude, if you ever need anything, man." And that's how cool, and they want everybody to succeed and win. There's enough music for everyone, to get their due here, man. And people really do help, the people that want, to make this firm in that decision that they want to make this a career, do this for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
And, that's a hard decision to make, to say that this is, I want to do music, for the rest of my life. And I do have to, at this point, have to have some other financial means of, for income to supplement that time right now while everything kind of, picks up a little steam here in a new city.
Mm-hmm.
But I went out to Rich's, his drum clinic, amazing clinic, by the way. And, I just asked if he would like me to bring, my camera there and take some photos for him. I'm a photographer as well. I was a photojournalist in the Navy for about 5 years.
Awesome.
And so I still shoot, it's still a major part of my side work, and artistic outlets.
Yeah.
Still doing photography and videography and stuff. But anyway, he was like, absolutely, bring your camera, come on out, and about 5 minutes into it, he starts talking about, doing the things that are necessary to, to really see a lot of your dreams and your hard work come to fruition. And he was like, look at this guy right here. This is exactly what I'm talking about. He's like, this is Chase Lacombe from Kerosene Shores. And I kind of look at him like, my band, and he was like, yeah, I know you, dude. And he was like, stand up a little bit, tell him a little bit about yourself, man, and like why you're here, what you're doing. And he gave me the floor for a few minutes at his clinic, and I was just trying to be the guy in the shadows, just getting, creeping in, get a couple of little cool angles, sneak out of the, just trying to be the fly on the wall. And he gave me a platform, to tell my story, not tell my story, but just, briefly kind of describe what it is that I'm doing here. And this is part of what it really did go right hand in hand with what he was talking about at that time. So that was really cool of him to be able to do.
Yeah, to share that light with you.
Like I said, this city has really opened its arms and its doors to me, for things that I don't feel that I, sometimes deserve. But I'm very thankful, and humble for it.
Well, look at you, man. I was worried about Chase recently and kind of called him on the side about an opportunity that might be coming up. And, apparently I'm way behind the curve on this because he has more than his share of stuff going on over there. That's awesome, dude. Yeah, and
man.
I found that
I think people can feel when you're a good person,
Yeah, and
that's when they bring you in,
That town is they are very much like that. The people I know that are there, they work with anybody, and they're happy to see you because there's plenty enough business to go around because any kind of music is done in Nashville these days. And you're right about I saw Thomas was going out. I think he's doing Europe with them, but I'd like this. I'd hope to think that he would be at if he's at Rockville, then I will see him because I'll be back there as well at the same time they will be, and it would be great to see him. Thomas, by the way, not only does he set up drums for all these bands and stuff, but he also, when I moved, he was the one that set up the drums in my room. So
okay, cool.
Yeah,
I've seen that set.
Yeah, that's right.
That's cool, man.
Yeah, somebody had to do it, and he was saying, "Hey, can I borrow?" I said, "Man, I got a trade. Would you mind putting some drums together for me?" Yeah. So Thomas is a great guy. He is also ex-military, and if you watch him go to get something, he walks faster than any human you've ever seen. He doesn't run, but it's like the fast walk. Yeah, he is.
He's on the mission.
He is. And
sometimes it's a little hard for me to keep up with the pace of even those kind of people. the knees don't carry me as fast as they used to.
Yeah,
I got to get you some spices up there so you can do some.
That helps with the knee pain, right?
Man, I've got one can that I got from you that's still going because you gave me a big ass can, but it's probably 3/4 of the way gone. Some of that extra hot and spicy. I think that was at the Drowning Pool show in Houston. I think that was where we first met.
Yeah, I think so too. I think, when I
That was right after Ryan McCombs came back I think that was like his third show back.
Yeah, man.
And I met him in his underwear, and he handed me a 16-ounce Bud Light. And he was like, "How you doing, man? I'm Ryan. Nice to meet you. Have a beer." And I was like, "Cool. So this is how we met."
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah.
A little like some blue underwear, like blue boxers
funny.
that had little green and red chilies on them, man.
That's awesome.
And the last time that I saw him, I brought that story up, and I was like, "I don't know if you remember the first time we met, dude." And as soon as I mentioned that part, he was like, "Oh, I know that pair of underwear." He was like, "Yeah, dude."
God. Yeah,
oh, dude, that was funny, man.
I saw them recently, and he had just got done with a soil tour. Then he jumped on Drying Pool, and Drying Pool has a very heavy schedule this summer, and with some
yeah, they do.
And
I've been seeing some of their
so they're going to be busy. But yeah, I had seen him in this, and for whatever reason that run they were on with this last time, these X amount of dates through April, and I think it was just April, but it just ended like maybe a week ago, and they didn't have a bus in time, so they just said we're going to van it, and you can see the look of regret. And I felt bad for Ryan because he's the one who he hadn't been home, and dude, he lives in England now, so I mean, wow. It's. He's been on the road for quite some time, but yeah, man, that's you'll do good up there.
Seems like I got a lot of friends in Europe, during like the European tours are pretty big right now, and it's just getting started with this spring, man. I know it's here, Jonathan Jordan, who's a friend of me, a Galveston, Texas, resident, he and I, used to play at Scout Bar together. Now he's with Wolfgang Van Halen, and I think they played Zurich. Last night, man. Like,
wow.
That guy stepped into something nice, man. That was
a pretty good gig.
And they had just gotten Toom and May had just gotten some legs, man, when that opportunity came up, man. So yeah, good for him, man, because you
can't knock him, dude. That's everything any of us would have ever dreamed for and more, man.
You'd be crazy to say no.
Especially for a session artist or anybody like that.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the mentality here in Nashville that I don't think that Houston has. I believe that Houston, or this is my perception, but everybody's kind of, they keep their members tight. There's a couple of people, well, I play in a tribute band too, so they may do some split band duties, but as far as original bands go or the music that they play, everybody's kind of like, no, that's my drummer, that's my singer, my guitarist. But Nashville, everybody plays with everybody, man.
I think that's so cool.
4 nights a week. You're with a different band down on Broadway or a different project here.
I think it just makes you better as well. It makes you a better musician.
Yeah, I think so too.
That's absolutely been a big part of my philosophy growing up. I grew up playing in churches ever since I was 13, 14 years old. It's been a few years since I've done that, but that was, I don't want to call it just a gig, but
it's basically cutting your teeth,
Sunday,
right?
You're getting to play in front of 400, 500, 600 people or more, depending on, the venue, of the church.
The church, yeah.
And, like for somebody who's a freshman, sophomore in high school, you learn, how to deal with stage. There is no stage fright, or anything. I always found that weird to people, whenever people, they get stage fright. And I'm like, I guess you just, I don't know, do a couple of hundred shows and
that goes away.
Differently.
Yeah, I mean,
but whenever you're playing on stage with 20 something other members, you got a 50-person choir behind you and organs and pianos and strings and this and that, and every Sunday it's a different person on somewhere in the band. So there's a multitude of musicians that you get exposed to playing with, and all kinds of different feels and grooves and and things like that. And just over the years, you kind of learn how to play kind of with anybody. There's not really a musician that I've sat down with that I didn't know how to make music and find that commonality. Even if we didn't speak the same language, verbally, we speak the same language of music. And I believe
you learn how to play.
Language.
You kind of learn how to play to the room and to the people.
Absolutely. And to me, crowds, I don't look at it as like there's 1,000 people out there, there's 100 people or 50 people or 5 people or whatever it is. I'd look at it as the crowd is one thing. It's one entity. It's not one individual or 1,000 individuals. It's one.
It's one energy.
It's one thing. It in a good, we've all experienced in a good rock show, man, that crowd becomes one, energy, one ball of energy, and so it's got its own mind to it a little bit.
Yeah, it's very true. And that's
it lives and breathes.
That's another thing about Nashville, when you're there, man. Yeah, networking is so key because you never know who you're going to work with one day.
Oh, totally.
And it opens a lot of doors, for your current project.
Because everybody in the city can play.
Yeah.
Everybody can play. We all know you can play.
Exactly.
It's not a question of like, man, are you any good?
Right.
You ever been in a band before? No, dude, everybody here is a big fish.
Right.
And that's what I want to like. I don't consider myself a big fish, but like last year I was runner up for drummer of the year in Houston at the SLM Awards.
Yeah.
And cool. And a lot of my friends are kind of that upper echelon of music there. But I wanted to know, and Houston is a huge, obviously it's a huge city. It's the fourth largest metropolitan city in the United States. Yeah. But as far as musically, I don't really consider it one of the large ponds. It's not maybe the LA, the New York, the Nashville. Those are kind of the big three. And it's really not LA anymore, man. Just the state of California, everybody's kind of leaving. And a lot of people, Nashville's exploding right now.
It is.
And it really is, man. And so, yeah, I wanted to see if I could swim with the big fish in the big sea, or, if I was going to drown, and maybe a fish doesn't drown. Maybe a poor analogy there.
No, you're doing fine, man.
But yeah, no, fish can drown. If I could fit into the city. And like I said, in 6 months here, man, I don't, there's never been a moment that I thought that I made the wrong choice.
No, just keep shaking hands, man, every damn day.
Yeah.
We had a kid.
What it is.
And be nice.
Yeah, we had a kid that played out at the Boyle In Between Bands. And I've seen him one other time. This kid's 11 years old.
Yeah.
And you were there for that, right?
No, we left before that, but I've seen him around, yeah.
Yeah, he gets up there and he's playing some Shine. Now, I heard my name being called on. He goes, "Doug, thanks for the crawfish, man." I'm like, no, he should be thanking the Moors. But but I turn around, and he's
acoustic set,
and he's
up by himself,
and he has no shyness in his game, man. He is on and off. Yeah, he's got this. Yeah,
and what's his name again?
Don't make me say his name again, because don't make me. You look it up.
I'm gonna look it up.
You look it up.
Yeah,
because I've already forgotten it. But he is.
He's like, I got this.
Yeah. Rob's always the one that never gets the references. Then he looks, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Even if you say it wrong, but you say it confidently,
Michael
it sounds
Duca.
right.
Michael Duca, and that's Dukas.
Dutka.
Ka.
Yeah. Michael Duca music.
Man, let me tell you, he's got some. Yeah,
I've seen some video of him playing at the 19th hole.
Yeah,
and he's getting down. He's got like a Les Paul.
And
going on.
he gets off a stage. I heard him and his brother ask for permission to go and do something, and they, yes sir, no sir. I mean, god dang, his parents are solidly doing a good job.
It takes discipline to do that, So he's got to be doing good.
Yeah. And somebody mentioned to me like, well, if he can just make it through puberty with his voice holding on, it'll be okay.
Yeah, it's gonna change.
Yeah. But yeah, that's good to see that.
So what else do you have going on in Nashville that you like to talk about?
Going on in Nashville, man. So I've got a new project that we're working on right now with it's called Boa. It's with Brian Gamboa, who's the new lead singer with Mick Mars from Motley Crue.
Oh yeah,
on his new solo venture.
Okay, his new CD.
I thought he was gonna.
Right, exactly.
I thought he was gonna stop altogether.
Mick Mars?
Mars, yeah.
No, he just released his latest thing.
I think I think a lot of the rock media, and outlets would, I think they pushed that narrative for a little while, but Mick always had this kind of going on. He just, he's a little bit more of a private individual, and so until things were really ready to roll with it, he kept it quiet because he knew just let everybody talk. Like,
and the album's great.
This is going to be awesome, yeah.
So
and the new album is killer, man.
So Boa is what in the new album? the singer?
So Brian Gamboa is the lead singer.
Okay.
You know, featured mainly on Undone and Killing Breed, the first couple of singles that came off the album.
Okay.
And so Brian already had an album or more. You know, I know it's a lot more than an album. He's got a ton of songs ready.
Yeah.
And Mick actually was, you know, inquiring whether to, you know, if he could purchase some of these, you know, for his new record. And you know, Brian politely declined, you know, on some of these, like, well, these are kind of my baby, and this is what I'm hoping for. So the Mick Mars things was a little bit of a surprise. So he already had this album not ready to release, but I mean, it's written and it's, you know, it was ready to just be, you know, kind of mixed and mastered and worked on, and the video shot and stuff, you know, and ready to start coming out with it. And so with the Mick Mars thing, Ray Luzier, who we were just talking about earlier from Korn, is the drummer on that album as well. And so, but, you know, Ray is bound to Korn. And even though he's, you know, a huge session, you know, artist here, you know, fully committing into, you know, into another band, it's just kind of a conflict of interest there.
You're talking like probably contractually, he's locked in.
Right.
Well, yeah, I mean, they're getting ready to take off again, you know, and tour. They've already announced.
Yeah, they're about to go to the trip soon. Yeah. And so Brian reached out to me because he was the guy who got me basically out of the job that I had at General Motors. We sat down at breakfast one morning, my wife and his wife. My wife came up here to start her new job that she's been working remotely until she you know, till we move up here in a couple of weeks. But she was up here to kind of get orientated and start. So we all decided that, you know, we'd get together, the four of us, for, you know, a morning breakfast on the last day that we had available. And we started talking about what we, you know, other interests outside of music and what we, you know, have done for work, you know, over the years. And we, you know, both began to talk about, you know, home building. And I was like, you do that as well? And he was like, well, I have my own company, you know, Heritage. And I'm like, wow. Really? You know? And so that conversation in about 20 minutes turned into, you know, if you want to come to work tomorrow, you've got a place, you know, and I will at least match your pay, you know, to what you're doing there. And it completely opened up the door, you know, for now where I am. You know, we were both kind of looking, you know, to fulfill a larger contract that may kind of employ, you know, everybody at once under a larger company. And that's how we both found, well, he found Spectrum and then referred me and kind of brought me into the conversation with it. And it ended up being a really great thing. And so I laughed that, you know, I've had this is one of the best jobs I've ever had in my life. And I never applied for it.
That's cool.
I never filled out an application.
I mean, you kind of did. I mean, you had to get in front of somebody.
You had an interview and then, you know, you're our guy.
Yeah.
That's being a good human, man. That's
just, you got to still be human, be a good person.
Yeah.
And, you know.
It's opened a lot of doors. It's,
that's cool.
You know, it's really given us the, you know, my family and I, the comfort to be able to look at the houses that we need, you know, not just what's kind of in the budget for. We're like, okay, this opens a lot of doors for, you know, for us to be comfortable and this process actually be financially realistic.
Yeah.
You know, there's still a lot of hurdles that we have to overcome, but we're right on the edge of finishing all of this.
Well, that's cool. Congratulations, man.
Thanks, man. And really and truly, that's kind of been my, you know, the lesson that I've learned, or, you know, what I hope to kind of be able to tell other people is that I think that everybody is so closer than they realize to achieving their wildest dreams and beyond.
Yeah.
If they don't realize how close you all are, or how everyone really is to having everything that you ever wanted and just dreamed of since you were a
you just
little
got to
kid,
go for it.
Up. If you would only sacrifice and give up a few comforts for a short time,
right?
You don't know, like it can change your life, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that totally, man.
So the new Boa project. So did y'all get a full band together already, or you're kind of working on that?
We have actually. Yes. Okay. So we're filming.
So who's your members
filming
now?
The music video for the first single right now.
Okay.
This is going to be under Code Z Records, is who's putting this on. We have Max Rossetti, who's on guitar.
Cool.
Martin Motnick from Accept. He's actually leaving right now to go do a tour with him in Europe. So we got him for the video shoot, and stuff real quick. And then he was like, all right, I'm going to see you guys in a couple of weeks. And we're like, yeah, go. Like, that's the way it is here, man. Everybody's got something else,
I mean, you kind of have to have
your basis in Europe,
you kind of have to do that, I mean, I think it's good to have more than one thing going.
We also have Paul Taylor as well.
Is that your bass?
And he's not fully associated with the project. I want to kind of make that clear as far as my understanding. He's recorded on every song for the album. He will be, and any live performances that we probably have in the future, or we will have in the future. But as far as the videos and officially a member there, again, it's kind of a conflict of interest. He's with Winger, and he's been with Alice Cooper, and a myriad of other projects over the years. So we're very fortunate to get his hand on keys.
Oh, he's on keys. Okay.
Into this project, but it's another name of somebody that, again, I'm blown away. Within a few months of I'm recording and playing with these guys.
Yeah. Who do you have on bass?
That's Martin. That's Martin Motnick.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, who I was saying was, leaving for
with Extreme
for Europe right now.
Okay. Yeah. Cool.
God, he's in a super group.
It is a super group.
It's been
Sounds like it.
And all the while, Kerosene Shores is still going, man.
Yeah.
And like I said, I still get on a plane, and come back for these shows. I haven't missed a show or recording session, in these last 6 months. And there was probably some questions behind closed doors whether this was going to work, but to be honest with you, this is the modern age of music.
Oh, it is, absolutely.
And not every big band, not every member lives in the same city anymore, man. You have to be able to, be a global artist. And work,
exactly.
Work like that.
And now with the technology, you totally record your drums, in Nashville, and they can record their tracks in Houston.
Yeah.
Oh, totally man.
Easy.
Well, that's why, I mean, they don't all do it at the same time. That's why
it's
Mike Luce wanted to come out yesterday for Crawfish, but he couldn't because he had to be in Vegas tracking drums.
Man, I tried to go out to a crawfish boil last night, man. Somebody sent me an address here, and I showed up in the middle of I thought it was just going to be a house or maybe a restaurant or something like that. And I'm driving through the woods, man, and there's nothing for a long way. And all of a sudden I come through a gate that's open. I don't even see the gate because there are no lights here.
Yeah.
And I just see sheriff's cars, and there's a sheriff's officer sitting in a chair right at the, and I just almost hit the brakes too hard. And I was like, whoa, I didn't want to blow through and they're like, no, you're good. Just go down there and park and you're, good to go on in. And I'm like, is there a cover? What is this place,
awesome,
man? And I come out on in a field, this huge clearing, just, excuse me, acres and acres.
Yeah.
And there's pavilion tents way in the background and a huge live stage, live music going on. There's a couple hundred people out there in the crowd. And I'm like, how in the world, where am I right now, man? There's booths and vendors and crap going on everywhere.
That sounds awesome.
Dude, the band was rocking. I have no idea who they were. And I just stumbled upon this place trying to find a crawfish boil. Apparently the crawfish people already left by the time I got there. They've apparently been going on all day. But man, it's just the crazy things that you'll just happen upon randomly in Nashville because you follow an address, hungry for crawfish.
Yeah, I don't blame you. When I came up, what was that, 2-3 weeks ago when I went up to Nashville, and I brought
Yeah, you didn't call me.
Did I forget? Yeah, I did. I think I might.
Yeah, you texted me because you called. No, you didn't text me that, but you had called me one night talking about doing this podcast, and I was like, yeah, you got to let me know whenever you come to town. You were like, I was just there. You never responded.
Yeah,
I'm like,
he's always got a million things going.
Like, wait a second.
That's
okay,
right.
Yeah, I'm a liar.
But yeah, I am coming. I'm coming back through probably at the mid to back end of May, and when I come back from Sonic Temple, I'm gonna run back through Nashville. But I saw Blair Daly up there, and he's from the small town I'm from. He's doing his songwriting up there, and I knew he would love to get his hands on some andouille and some other stuff. So I brought him some good things that he can't get, up there. It's a huge difference. But
absolutely.
When I come up, I'll bring you a couple goodies, man.
Yeah, please do.
We'll do that. You'll be in your home by then.
I should be, yeah. So, like I said, get the keys on the 15th. I'm going, the next night I'll be flying home Thursday night, be loading, moving trucks up Thursday, Friday, Friday, Saturday, and then hopefully driving it, up here and unloading Sunday.
That's very cool.
And, so it's all happening fast, man, but it's
Are you an original Houstonian?
I am. Yeah, I'm from LaPorte originally.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Now he's got
I've run up there all my life, man.
Cool.
He's got a name that would come from my people.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Lacombe is a very
French
Cajun-y name there, man.
That's correct.
French, yeah.
Yeah, all my family's from there, man.
Wow.
I'm French on both sides, and
nice.
We I don't know, a number of years ago, there was a family member of ours that found, I guess we have a family crest. Our family name is D'Armond, or that's how we pronounce it. Now we all live in Texas.
Right.
In Texas, but
I've heard that name before.
Yeah, D'Armond is the French pronunciation of it. We found a letter from the mid 1700s. That was it was a request to the judge or whatever, there for a marriage certificate, and they're, stamped on the wax seal was the family crest for D'Armond. Cool. And so like we don't know the colors of it officially because it was the wax seal, so in a black and white we have, our crest, of it. So
I'm sure if you dug, you could probably find it.
So, and the whole letter's in French.
Yeah.
So we're French on both sides, man. I'm as French as
That's cool.
I knew when I met him, I said, well, that's a Louisiana name. Yeah. So
that's right. From a little town called LaPorte.
We know it well, man. Yeah. Now what about, hey, I was going to ask you, we were going to get into a little bit about, we've lost in the Houston area, we've lost two different clubs over the last 3 weeks,
Yeah. Concert Pub North.
Yeah. And then Acadia, which
last night was the last
night at Acadia.
Okay. So then it's 3 because the end, which is just inside the loop, I believe.
Okay.
Is another. Yeah, I know it's a little bit smaller on our circuit, there, but yeah, it's another long-standing live music venue right there in Houston that's closing its doors.
That's sad.
So yeah, we've lost 3 in the last couple of weeks, man.
Yeah, that's not good.
I didn't know about the Concert Pub North, man. I didn't know about that.
Yeah, it was quick.
Yeah, it did. Well, both of these in like Acadia, we found out
I think
at the
4 days
last week, something like that, and then the last show was Sunday, and
staff got 4-day notice. Yeah,
that came quick, man. And what was the other? Like Warehouse Live.
Warehouse Live kind of moved.
Well, they just moved.
They're
doing a
change.
Yeah, they're doing an extension on the I think on 59 there. I think they're doing an extension, and it just made more sense for them instead of getting closed out for months because of traffic.
Well, they're going to do some drainage work on the road right there.
The whole area, front. The whole area. So I think it was going
to be a nightmare getting anybody in and out.
Yeah,
it's really just a long history, though, man. There's been places, iconic ones like Fitzgerald's.
Fitzgerald's closed.
That was that was home base for me as a kid, man. Growing up playing, the first time I ever got to play upstairs at Fitzgerald, thinking that James Brown and Janis Joplin and other people had played on the stage, and I was there sweating on the same drum riser that these guys that I grew up with posters on my wall had played. Man, it was surreal, and to see places like that close down, the Meridian, other just long, great Houston music venues. That have just gone by the wayside, man.
Yeah, I think a lot of people just don't get it that, man, you can go out. There's not a rough crowd at all. It's very community.
These are people that are going to pick you up off the floor. They're going to dust you off. Like they're going to look out for you. A complete stranger, man. Like people in rock and roll, they always get a bad rep. for wearing dark clothes and tattoos and piercings and chains. And honestly, they're the person that, will, give their life for a stranger, pick somebody up off the floor in a pit that they've never met, protect, so like, man, they're watchdogs,
the
of
black
music,
shirt community.
And, but I'm like, country music stars, not music stars, but like, man, you see some young country music fans without, a care about the next person, around them. And I'm not talking bad about the people here in Nashville, man. I'm just saying.
No, I understand, but
but people miss out on the intimate,
they go out,
part of that.
Go out and see live music.
You can be right there in front.
It is a very cheap spend. Some of these bands that you go out to see, that one day, next thing you know, boom, they're blown.
I even get surprised by people I see that are new to me, and I'm just like, wow, that's cool to experience that.
Yeah, like I said, it was about 2011 when I started going out and see live music again, and not just covers and tributes, which I love seeing too, but people. There is more to life. If you like those, go and check out a couple bands. Well, I've never heard of this band. Trust me, you can count on more fingers.
You're going to get to meet the artist.
Yeah.
You're going to get to hang out with them. They'll autograph their music for it. Like they're happy to sit and talk with you.
Exactly.
For as long as you want to talk. With it, like what other major artist, most of the time you're going to pay $75 or $100 and something for for a ticket or more.
Yeah, they're hiding in their green room
to go support an artist. That isn't. You're never going to meet.
Yeah, you have no access to them.
They're not going to give you the time of day there like you would with with a local artist who this is their their passion in life. They all do have day jobs. They're doing this because they love it and they want to be here, and they're approachable. You can talk to them all the day. They're right there in front of you.
Plus, you want to be around the people.
Club, you can have front row seats.
Yeah,
any night you want with a general admission ticket, dude.
Yeah, these people these people are writers, and there's plenty of songs in my everyday catalog that I listen to for workouts or whatever it is, that anthems to me now, man. And you just have to go out and find them, and trust me, that a lot of them that won't get discovered, but there are plenty of them that you see them here one day, then watch out where they're at the next day because they've hit it big. But there is some great music out there to go see live. And you
absolutely,
people are missing out. And if you
like the song "Best Life" from Kerosene Shores, like that's kind of become our anthem, song. That's the one that everybody, they don't want to miss. Best Life, man.
Yeah,
that's the one that everybody gets up, just crazy for, man.
Yeah, and plus we want to keep these venues open, keep them healthy. It's great. It's great.
Absolutely.
Entertainment at a very low cost to go. There's no
most
Ticketmaster
of these bands
involved.
Will play for next to nothing, man. A lot, they're
just to get
most
out.
of us are probably losing, or losing money overall.
Yeah, most of the time,
for the gas, the time off, and everything to be there, and the money that you spend, on getting the merch and buying all of that to have for sale and the CDs. Like, man, we're losing money.
Yeah,
to come there, even if we walk away with $250 that night, that doesn't necessarily always get split $50 a pop for everybody to fill up their gas tanks to drive 2 hours back across Houston.
Yeah,
or from San Antonio or Austin, or like you're not even breaking even most nights, man.
Exactly.
But like none of us would stop it, for a heartbeat.
Right.
No, go to shows, buy merch.
Yeah.
Keep music going.
Merch.
Yes.
That's what even
and Kerosene Shores has some pretty badass shirts. Just saying.
In fact, I need to get one.
That is shout out to Eric James.
Yeah, Eric does some good work on that. Yeah.
That is the godfather of our merch booth, man. The Kerosene store.
They actually look like tattoo art.
We redid it just a couple of months ago. Complete overhaul.
Cool. Okay.
Ton of new designs. We invested a lot into buying all of the new shirts and everything that we would be able to have, and offering it to where if we just for whatever reason have run out of a size, we can get it on just a few day turnaround and get it sent to them. So cool. Our merch store has everywhere that we have played since then, it's just kind of been the shining beacon over there of
I got some cool shirts, man.
Merch booth, man. Yeah. Shout out to Eric for that, man.
For sure.
That is his brainchild.
Yeah, he's
all credit
very, very talented dude. Yeah.
Well, speaking of which, looking for a guy that's looking for clothes right now because I need some different sizes.
You've lost quite a bit of weight.
Yeah, I lost
Doug.
63 pounds, so
That's
I'm having
nice
to
going.
go to every show and get shirts and
shopping.
Give us a place. Bring some extra money next time, man. We got a couple for you.
No, tell me, but where can I buy them? Can I go on?
Can you get them online?
Yeah, can I get them online, man?
That's a good question. I know that there is a merch store on our website.
I think there is.
If all of I know that there is, but I don't know if all of those brand new designs have all made their way for online sales yet.
But the best place to get them is live.
And stock for just the shows. Yeah. Let alone everybody else. And Eric is filling all these orders himself.
Yeah.
He's also got a brand new baby girl, a couple of weeks old.
Exactly.
So he's running his own business.
Yeah.
He's an extremely busy man.
Yeah. No, the best place to get them is at the show.
Well, that definitely is. But also 100%. You can find Kerosene Shores
everywhere.
Everywhere on Facebook, Instagram,
Spotify, Apple.
Yeah, Apple. Yeah, all this.
YouTube, Spotify. Yeah. There's actually a list of about 35 different streaming music places around the world.
I didn't know there was 35.
The majority of them I'd never even heard of.
I didn't know there was that many.
But there was not. Yeah, I was like, well, I don't think we missed any.
Yeah,
our music is stream out there everywhere. Man.
I think we probably stream on.
Yeah, we're on some stuff that I've never even heard of before. Like, how the hell did I get?
It's got to be like international stuff. I guess.
Once it gets up there, it goes everywhere. What about?
Yeah, it does.
What about? Can you tell us before we kick you out of here? Where can we see Kerosene Shores next?
Or Boa?
We actually don't have a show on. This is the first time in a long time we don't have one on the books right now. But what we are working on is a new single.
Okay.
So this will be the first song that we've done after we've been supporting our latest studio album Embers for a little over a year now, and so this is be our first time back in the studio, and we're fortunate enough to be doing this with Robbie Joyner and I believe it's Richard Wycanner from Fire from the Gods, and AJ Channer, the lead singer from Fire from the Gods, is also going to be featured on this single again. Cool. This will be the second single that he's been featured on. We had, one of our most popular songs, Glimpse in Your Mirror, that he was featured on. It was a huge success. Actually, last time that we played Austin, and I believe that's his home city, if I'm not mistaken. He was nice enough to come out. We closed the show out with that song. Cool. And usually that's not our closer, man, but there's no better way to close out a show than, in his home city playing that song.
Yeah, it's pretty
sweet.
So
we're really looking forward to coming out with this. We've been trying to focus a little bit on putting out some new music for you guys, while we're also kind of we're busy in a lot of different places, with me moving up here, new baby girl for Eric and just a million different things. So we've kind of allowed everybody
and Bo is in the studio
focus on that right now.
And Bo is in the studio right now, or y'all just writing?
Boa, yes, yeah, we are.
Okay.
So we're recording with Scott Bush as well. Well, a lot of this is being tracked. Brian does have a home studio, and it is not what you think of whenever you think of home studio. Yeah. This is a full recording studio. A whole separate building just behind his house.
Nice.
It's got a full stage in there, it's a huge facility.
Legit.
And so he's been doing a lot of these because these have been his love child. But Scott Bush is doing a lot of the mixing on it right now. So we did get a new mix on it today. Obviously we're all still making a couple of notes on a few things. So and we're still in the last few evenings of filming for the music video right now. We're probably going to be picking back up again, I believe, tomorrow night to film some of the last few scenes of the storyline stuff as well. And so all of our live performance stuff has already been shot for it. So as soon as the new song is 100% ready and mastered and the video is finalized and edited, you guys are going to get to hear Boa for the first time. And then there's going to be we're going to begin working on one more single that will be released before the finality of the album in its entirety will be released. Hopefully it'd be, late at the end of this year if it's a little early. But we're kind of aiming for the beginning of next year for the full album to be released.
Well, cool.
Well,
we look forward to it.
Yeah, and just keep us posted on.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, like I said, that one's going to be on Code Z Records, so that's going to be that's a fun one.
Okay, well,
we'll keep in touch. I'm sure we'll do a follow up whenever there's
absolutely.
Some new music and things to talk about.
What you think, Doug?
Yeah, I like talking to him, man.
Do some follow-up.
Anytime, Chase is always welcome. And go and subscribe to their music on all the platforms you can find it on, and go get their social media. Like I said, they're pretty active.
You can find me on Facebook and Instagram mainly. I'm big on there.
I got you now.
Look up Chase Lacombe. Facebook is where I have my verified accounts. I'm real easy to find. Cool. I've got the blue check there.
Nice.
But yeah, just Chase Lacombe on Instagram, Facebook, and I'd love to connect with you guys.
Chase, thanks for joining us today, man.
Yeah, man.
Very Absolutely. Cool. Thank you for having me. It's been a wonderful almost hour talking with you guys, man. That went by.
Oh, we could do this for another 6.
We're in about 20 minutes, 25, probably coming up on a half hour now.
Yeah.
Goodness, it's almost been an hour.
I could talk music for days.
To talk to, man. Thank you so much for giving me the platform here to this is the first time I've been able to tell this much of my story in a kind of in a longer format.
Well, cool, man. Thanks for sharing.
We always got time for you, man.
Yeah.
And when you're in town,
thank y'all so much.
You bet. When you're in town, we'll maybe have you sit in with us.
That'd be very cool.
That'd be great.
Oh, that'd be fun. Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for joining the Nonsense Chronicles today, and we will see you soon.
Later.
My pleasure. Thanks, guys.